following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Good evening. You're joining the Business Best, a platform for the best in the business and an opportunity for you to connect with veterans and entrepreneurs from various industries. The company, this interesting company we are introducing to you today, will help you drive more revenue with their solutions because they unite strategy, data, design and technology. Impact Labs, and we have the director of Impact Labs, Srinath Ramamoorthy, with us. Srinath, a warm welcome to you.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great, Srinath. How are you?
Not bad, going on.
So Srinath, let's start the chat with who is Srinath?
So, nothing much that I can tell about myself is that I was someone who has been in the media industry for the last 13 odd years. And I always had the itch to start something of my own, but was always looking for an opportunity. I think COVID actually helped me make that breakthrough. So this is actually a COVID company as well.
Ooh.
So
you started in 2020?
2020 is when I started the company, but where I actually lifted off and got things moving was in 2021.
Okay.
So I was to do a lot of freelance before that. And then we scaled up and I thought, okay, no, this is what I want to do full time. Got into it. Fully committed, leaving my full-time job. Started this in 2021 and then here we are 3 years later.
There are many who are watching us who would like to be entrepreneurs. What's your message to them?
The biggest message that I could always tell is that don't listen to others. Follow what you really want to do because you have very few people who could encourage you, but you'll have a lot more who can discourage you in all sorts of forms. So if you think there's an idea that's running in your head, you're not going to know whether it's going to work or not unless you try it. So you might as well go try it yourself and don't make a noise about it with others because they're just going to criticize it. So get moving, get started with it. Eventually you'll figure things out and things will fall into place. So take action on whatever you do. I'm
motivated. So what's the story behind Impact Labs, Srinath?
So I've always been with a lot of creative things, being in media as well. I started in radio, moved to TV.
Okay.
And then I got into digital as a different platform.
Okay.
So from school days, I used to always be in a very creative space. I used to do a lot of graphics. I used to do a lot of video editing. I used to self-taught a lot of things. And something that I liked also was trying to build up brands, trying to tell stories, trying to build something of my own or try to develop products as well is something that I always had a passion for. So this kind of, once I got into media, I thought that I have a good opportunity to build something of my own. I moved into it. And we had very few clients who actually had interest in what we were pitching for. So we started with small and medium enterprises.
Okay.
We started upscaling their business in terms of digital media. And we got them through. The difference that we made and the reason why we started evolving and growing was we started telling them, saying that it's the stories you tell and not what you post. So most of the people when we met, their platform was all about ads after ads.
Yes.
They keep selling their products. But they never thought or had that process of thinking that you need to engage with people in order to push your product forward. So we started that way early. We had a lot of challenges in getting that convinced because they were all sales driven and they wanted sales end of the day. So you have a lot of engagement, but your entire idea is lost when there's no sales.
Definitely.
So
and there's a cost incurred as well.
And the first thing that they do is we were at a time where if their marketing cost was high, the first thing that they cut off is social media marketing is the first budget that they cut.
Yes.
But now it has completely evolved. COVID has actually helped us.
Things have changed a lot.
Things have changed a lot. So we can get that transition done, but it only takes a little bit effort to get your clients also a little bit more educated in what they're looking forward for, and then you can actually scale. So started as a single man show in COVID from my bedroom. And now we've got a fully fledged office with 22 staff working full time.
Where are you located?
So now we're actually located on Navla Road, Rajagiri. And so we just moved into that office space. Earlier we were in Bamblapiti and we just moved into that space about a month ago. The only reason is that we wanted to get more into productions. So we've got an entire design crew downstairs and a complete studio upstairs. So it helps every small business entrepreneurs to come to us. And the solution that they get from us is a 360 solution. It's not just digital media anymore with us. Digital media, if they have a product to be developed, we help them develop the product, shoot the product, and then plus if they want a commercial from that, we can do the commercial and then run the social media ads as well.
So that's why you say you have the strategy, you have the data, design, and then finally the technology to cater to that, right? Okay. So let's talk about your products and your solutions. I was going through your website, Srinath. So I saw some interesting products and I would like to really comment on the look you have on your website, the brand you carry, that cartoonish look and something that I couldn't stop reading what was in your website. Let's talk about these solutions.
So to start off with, the cartoon characters that are there actually on the website are characters that
that's one of your highlights, I guess.
That's one of our highlights as well. And it's actually most of the cartoon characters are mascots that we have created for other brands. So the lion that you see right on top of the website is basically the
proudly
mascot.
Standing.
So that's a mascot that we actually created for Sri Lanka Legends, the cricket tournament. And the falcon that you see is the brand that we'd actually developed for the Lanka Premier League, Candy Falcons.
Falcon Candy, yes.
So we took a different form of trying to communicate and try to engage with the audience in terms of cartoon. And cartoon was something that was very close to me, and I think that it can relate to anyone of any age. And a lot of things that you can't tell using a human, you can always dish them out with cartoons.
A lot of emotions also you can bring out.
Yes, and so from there we started with one brand and then we've started developing for all the other brands as well. So if you take the cricket leagues alone, we've done, I think, Sri Lanka Legends, we've done for Lanka Premier League. From Lanka Premier League, we got a gig to do a mascot for Abu Dhabi T10. So the journey kept moving on like that, and we still do fairly a large number of cartoon mascot characters for brands. So that's easy way of getting, like for example, how you also remember us now is through the cartoon characters. So it's more of
something different.
That's what you need to create if you really want to stand out from the clutter.
And it will never erase from my mind as well. So you have these products, kitchen equipment to double the profit. I read your case study. Let's talk about it. Because this is something different. Because you are a company, you build digital products. So what is this?
So this was a client who was actually, who really didn't have believe on social media marketing as well, because he was a person who was selling kitchen equipments for not the high ends, but your usual bhat kade, the low ends. So he was selling the rice steamers, the kottu cutting machines. So this is what he was basically selling. And whoever did the campaigns before, basically what they did was, along with the bread, they also had the machine and pieces of bread as well advertised on their platform. And what actually happened from them is that he started getting more calls of people asking for bread rather than asking for his machine. So that one instant made him completely hate social media, and he thought social media doesn't work for him. And he used to advertise a lot on paper. And on and off, a lot of confusion comes with him. And I said, you need to create something that will actually stand out. So what we did was we created the brand, and then we also gave him a tagline. And we completely changed the life story of the brand with one caption called Double Your Profit. Because when you're looking at a mass audience, what you need to talk to them is in their language of how they understand a particular brand. You try to talk about technical details of the product, they're not interested. They're more interested on, if I buy this machine, how much can I get from it? So we always spoke about how much can you yield from that particular machine. And one instance where we went and saw that one of the machines that they were selling at a shop at Matara, it's basically a rice steamer that they were selling, which is a 40 kilo rice steamer. And when we went there, he was saying, for lunch, we prepare rice on it. But for mornings, we also put string hoppers on it.
Okay.
And when we get catering orders, even the fish, we used to steam on it. And we also give cuddle on it. And then he was going on giving list of saying that rice steamer was used for almost pretty much about 9 to 10 dishes.
All-purpose rice steamer, okay.
And then we thought, okay, that was a good strategy for us to make use of it. And then we started advertising heavily on that. It was like, you said, one machine, 9 dishes. So from there, we picked up the idea. And then we gave everyone the idea saying that from morning, we went with the idea saying, Udeta kadala, dawalta bath.
That's your tagline.
So we started building up on that. And then that actually increased his sales as well. Like a lot of people thought that, okay, if I buy this machine, a lot of my cooking can be done on that. And that's the overall idea of double your profit.
Yes.
Even the kottu cutter was almost the same. So kottu cutter, instead of just saying kottu cutting machine, we made a kottu malung cutting machine.
Okay.
So we always say that you buy this machine, you can do more job with it and save a lot more.
You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you are not only driving revenue to company, but you are building a story and a brand around it. Today we are in conversation with Impact Labs and we have the director Srinath Ramamoorthy with us. I'll see you after this break. Welcome after the break and you're with the Business Best and we have Impact Labs, the director Srinath Ramamoorthy with us and we are talking about how they unite strategy, data, design and technology to bring more revenue to your company with their solutions. Srinath, we were talking about how you sell products through your story, how you build that story. Let's talk about, I'm really looking forward to hearing this story, Chilling with Russell, this talk show that you launched even during the COVID period, again a COVID channel.
This was again a campaign that came out through COVID. So this was...
So you run a lot of campaigns, I guess. That campaign to build a brand. To
build a brand.
Okay.
So this was a channel that was actually started by another colleague of mine called Shamim Pet. So it was his idea during COVID. He used to have a different channel. And so this happened as an incident at one of the Sri Lanka Legends tournament where through a mobile phone, we got some videos done and where he said chilling with Russell at the end. And this was not planned as a channel or a series or none of that. We just did it for the fun of it because we wanted content to promote the league. And then when we came back, then we were brainstorming a lot of things and I called him up and I said, I think we can make this a channel too. So rather than just keeping only Russell Arnold, we can bring a few more other people, make it a talk show. And then let's take it forward and we'll try 1 or 2 and let's see how it goes. And he also immediately jumped onto the idea and I said, let's do. And we did the very first YouTube streaming just from our home. And I said, okay, let me do an intro and an extra, make it like a proper show. And let's try it out. And he said, let's see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's okay. And he also gave me a lot of confidence saying that we can do a lot with it. And then we did the first show. With that show, we had a lot of people taking content of that. So what we did was the very first show that we did was we invited Srinath Jayasuriya, T.M. Dilshan, Lasit Malinga. We invited all of them to come into that talk show and have a chat. So it was almost an online platform which we were streaming on our YouTube channel. That was the very first video that went out. And when you bring cricketers to discuss about any game, the best part of it, it's not going to be very rigid. It's not going to be a question and answer based. So they crack jokes, they tease each other. It's a very friendly conversation. Plus a lot of knowledge is given out as well.
Knowledge plus entertainment.
So the best part was the particular channel went up really viral. And at one point, a lot of sports segment in news channels were clips from this particular channel.
Picked clips,
saying that Srinath Jayasuriya said this on this channel. Russell Arnold said about this person on this channel. The video kept going from there to the other news channels as well. And then we kind of got annoyed as well as to we tried to bring the show up and it's going everywhere. And then we thought, okay, no, we should do it as a proper channel, streamline. And we got the channel monetized. And now every time you have a World Cup series, now we do an entire show, which a lot of people watch right now. And a lot of brands engage with the particular show as well. And that's another way of storytelling as well. Rather than just having your product placed, we usually bring the product into the concept as well. So either Russell Arnold or Sana Jayasuriya basically talks about the product within their conversation. So a lot of the videos that you can actually see a lot of brands being endorsed, even without people knowing that it's being endorsed.
Yes, in that story. So Srinath, let's say I have a YouTube channel and I come to you, I want to grow my business. So I have a service business and I have a YouTube channel. I want to grow my business through the YouTube channel. How do I start with you?
So initially, everything will basically go with a talk through what you want. And
so you have a team for that?
We have a team for that. So they basically do run you through what your goals are, what you want to achieve from that. And based on that, if you think that your YouTube channel or a talk show or trying to educate your audience through a channel helps you grow your brand, then we would take the option of using your videos on YouTube and other platforms to educate your audience as well as show your brand awareness as well. What we always lack here is that a lot of people try to push the product, but we take very little time to educate the people about the product. As long as you start educating people of finding the right product and how to choose the right product, almost half your sale is done. So initially that's where we would basically start. If there is a requirement to push your service or a product through education, then we would take the option of educating the client through a channel. So that now we have the facility where your entire production can be done in-house itself. So by
because
doing
you have the studio.
We have the studios in-house as well. So so we have a photo studio separately, a video separately, and we have another section for podcasts separately. So through this, what we actually can help is that for any client who walks in, it's one solution under one roof. And since we have everything within the house and no third party get involved, the cost of getting it done comes down drastically. So that's the bench over mark that we always try to push for. So the cost comes down. So once the cost is down, you give the client much more liberty to do a lot more things within the budget that he wants to spend in. And then once he gets the taste of it and see how things grow forward, then gradually the business goes forward. So one thing that we don't do is we don't take one-off projects. So we mostly work on retainer, because if you want to give them results or see results, they need to at least be with you for about 6 months to see how they transform. Immediate sales don't really happen with social media unless you're trying to sell something which is not going to sustain in the market for a long time.
Definitely. So this comes to my, this brings to my next question. I've said a lot of things which make you unique in the industry. I would like to hear it from you. What makes you tall among the rest?
So these are some of the feedbacks that I get from the clients that I work with right now. At times there are people, they have come back to me and said, your prices are too expensive. You've got a coat which is much more cheap. And I always say that, okay, go try it. And then you will actually see the difference of what difference it makes. The concept that a lot of people think that digital marketing or social media marketing is all about creating posts, pushing your product, creating an ad, finding your audience and boosting it. But it's a little bit more than that as well. You need to have the strength of understanding what happens offline and online. Having just the online presence alone does not help you push your product. And me having the experience from media to digital, I can basically wave off and say, you need to do a little outdoor activities as well. These are the outdoor activities that you can do.
So you just suggest things as well.
So a lot of the suggestions that we always throw is we help them also scale their business.
Okay.
So we sit there as a marketing consultant to them rather than just focusing only on their digital. So that actually helps. So these few days we've been working with one particular SME business who is into manufacturing.
Okay.
We have a lot more clientele in manufacturing who are looking at exporting and so on. So the biggest problem that they always have is how do I find my market audience? Because most of the time when you get an inquiry, it doesn't really convert to a sale.
Yeah.
It's just an inquiry. Where do you take it from there? So a very brand new concept that we have actually built up is something called Proudly Sri Lankan, which is to be launched very soon. That's actually a platform built for SMEs.
So Yasapala's story comes in that, right?
Yes. So Yasapala is another cartoon character that we're actually trying to bring. I'm not going to reveal much details about it.
It's okay.
So we just launched and it's actually trending, slightly picking up right now. We're doing the groundwork for it. But Proudly Sri Lankan is more of a brand that will actually help educate the SME businesses as to how they can shift their brands or looking at the export market. Because a lot of people that we have met, we've helped them change their entire brand labeling and all that, because they're more focused on the product and they focus very little on their branding.
Yes.
So they have a wonderful product, but the packaging will be very average. So that really doesn't get picked up in stores or market, doesn't create a curiosity. So for one example is, we've done a product, I think that's there on my social media, but not on the website. We designed a pack for a person who was manufacturing carrot powder, beetroot powder, and so on. So
for exports?
For exports and for local consumption as well. The difference is that he was basically preparing a dehydrated carrot powder, beetroot powder, all of that. The product was really good, but when it comes to the packaging was pretty much the same as what everyone else does. It was on the same Ziploc sealed bags, or a vacuum packed bag was what they were selling it. So we took the idea, we gave him the idea and said, we have a different concept of how we can actually push it. We made all the boxes look like pyramids. So they were all no rectangle, no square. They were all in shapes of triangles. So what happens is once you start stacking up them in a shelf, and we used all pastel colors and made the boxes into triangles. So when you stack them up, you can't stack another product close to it because it always gives you a distant gap between. So your product on the shelf really stands out. And that actually makes, and right now he comes back to me and every time he says that is that every time I give the pack to someone, the first thing that they ask is, you have a really nice packaging, even before they have tried the product. So that's the difference that we always try to make.
To create. Very nice. So Srinath, thank you very much for being on our show. And how can they connect with you if they want to get in touch?
So my website is the easiest way of connecting with us. So we have a website called impactlabs.asia. And right on top, there's a button called Grow With Us. So there's about 10 questions there. That 10 questions is basically for us to understand what your business is. So that from there onwards, our conversation with the client is more of in line of how we could streamline. The very first conversation itself is we have a proper understanding of what you really want, who are you benchmarking on, and where do you really want to travel with. And the story gets online from there onwards.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Srinath, for being on our show today.
Thanks a lot for
and I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Build more stories with the brands.
Thanks a
so
lot.
That,
Thanks a lot for having me.
you'll be able to bring revenue to more companies in the future. So we were in conversation with Impact Labs and the director Srinath Ramamoorthy. And if you couldn't watch this program, you can re-watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/Derana English. I will see you next week with a similar promising discussion. Have a pleasant evening.